everyone. It is Janet Metzger. I'm the host of the Network Marketers Den podcast. I talk with a lot of different people, and having been in this industry for so many years, whether you're in network marketing, direct sales, you're a 1099 contractor, or you support 1099 contractors such as insurance, financial, etc. I deal with a lot of folks that, quite frankly, don't know their numbers. And today I want to talk about the gap. Now, I don't mean the retail store, the gap. I'm talking about the gap in your business. The gap is simply the difference in where you are right at the moment and where you want to be. Now, that is not just regarding the numbers. That's what we're going to talk about today. But there's a lot of different gaps that we need to be addressing in our business if we want to take it to the next level. Your knowledge gap, the amount of experience you've had, and really and truly a biggie is the gap in your confidence level. Here's the thing. We all have gaps, and our goal should always be to work on closing those gaps. And know this, gaps are not a bad thing. They're actually a good thing, because when we're focusing on closing those gaps, you're actually focused on growing, not only growing your business, but growing yourself. And you've probably heard this before. If you aren't growing, you're dying. You're kind of like a plant. So you got to constantly keep growing and feeding and doing some different things. But like I said, today, let's focus on the numbers gap. When I work with different clients and people over the years, I will always ask them about their numbers. And honestly, 9 out of 10 times, people really don't know their numbers. I had a mentor many years back that had this philosophy, and I still live by this philosophy. You always got to know your numbers. Even if you don't know the how, if you know your numbers, you're halfway there. So why do you need to know these numbers? Because if you don't know what you need to actually achieve your goals, you're never going to get there. Oftentimes I'll hear things like, I want to be a triple diamond superstar, or whatever it is to be at the top of your company. And I'll say, that is awesome. So what are the requirements? And I can't even believe they don't know what those requirements are, but they really don't know the difference between where they're at and what the requirements are. Now, you don't necessarily have to look at the highest level, maybe even the next level, but you have to know what that gap is. What is the difference? People say, well, why do I need to know that? Well, if you don't know it, it's kind of like you're taking a trip in a car. You know where you want to go, but you don't know the distance, you don't know the time frame that it takes to get there, you don't know the number of overnights. It's really the same thing in your business. You've got to know these things. And if you don't, you're never going to get to know where you're at. So there's a lot of numbers. I mean, there are so many different things you could and should look at. But we're going to focus on just a couple of them here today. So the difference of where you're at now and where you should be could include things like this: personal sales volume. This is where I'm at. This is where I need to be to get to that next level. The total group sales volume. What does the team sales need to be? The number of team members. How many team members do I have to have? Depends on your company. Depends on, and let's face it, if you have the right kind of people, the more people you have, everything happens, right? Does not matter the industry, whether it's insurance, financial, network marketing, it's all the same. The number of leaders, the number of builders. Sometimes there's a requirement of how many other people need to be building. You got to know what rank do they need to achieve if that's part of your comp plan. But every company has something different. Everybody's a little different, but I can guarantee you everybody has to have a volume. A volume portion is involved, whether it's yours or the team members. And most of the time, it does include both. So once you know the difference and what is needed by each and every one of these categories, you got a good start. But quite honestly, there's a lot of other numbers that you're going to need to know. These numbers will help you to determine the activities and the number of activities. So just at a real high level, I guess what you have to do is you have to do some reverse engineering. So here's an easy one. Let's talk sales volume. And I talk easy numbers, you guys, because I'm doing this math in my head. So bear with me. Let's say that right now you are selling your personal volume, what you are selling, number of policies, whatever it is, whatever your business is. Let's say that you're selling $1,000 a month. Right now, that's what you are averaging. And in order to hit the goal that you're striving for, you need to hit 3,000. So simple gap, right? There's $2,000. That's the difference. Now, here's the real question. You know that it's $2,000. But the real question is how many customers, how many policies, how many whatever does it take to get to that $3,000 per month? What is the average order? That's what we call it, the average order, the average customer spend. This is something you absolutely need to know. Now, once you know that, you're partway there. Okay, so do the math. You just reverse engineer it and say that the average customer spend, that the average policy, whatever it is that you're working with is, let's say it's $50. Okay, so doing simple math, 3,000 divided by 50 is 60. I need 60 customers on average to hit $3,000 a month. Okay, now we're not going to talk about how do I get to 60 customers today, but we know that I need 60 customers to achieve that goal because we work simply on averages. Now, it goes further than that. It's great that you know how many customers you need, but if you're really, really serious about your business, again, it does not matter what the business is, you need to know this conversion rate. How many people do I need to talk to? How many people do I need to reach out to before someone actually purchases? Because as much as we'd love it that everybody buys or everybody signs on the dotted line, that just doesn't happen, right? Okay, so that's real world. So you simply need to know how many times you have to talk to get to the 60 sales. You have to know that number. You have to know that number. So there's a lot of other things that help you to determine your average customer purchase. And we're not going to talk about those today, but you can take this same philosophy and you can use it with your team. So what's the average sale of your team member? The average volume that they do on an annual basis. You can do it by the team. You can take it one step farther by the individual. And I'll tell you why this one is golden, because it's great for recognition. It's not just about the total volume. It's about the average order. So when it comes to team building, you also have to know this conversion rate. How many people do I have to reach out to, do an initial reach out to, example on social media, before someone says, yeah, sure, let's get on a call, let's talk, meet each other. Got to slow this down, you guys. It's not about go right for the throat, if you will. How many let's talks, let's get to know each other, do I have to have before someone says, sure, I'd like to hear about your opportunity. I'd like to hear about your product, whatever it is. You have to know how many people you have to talk to. So take it another step farther. Let's say you're talking about presentations. How many presentations do you have to do before someone says yes to the opportunity, signs on the dotted line to become a distributor, signs on the dotted line to become an agent with you? You have to know these things. You can go even farther. I mean, we can go on and on and on, but how many yeses does it take before someone says, yes, I want to build a team? So if you've got 10 new distributors, 10 new agents, how many of those 10 are going to say, yes, I want to build a team? So as you can see, there's a lot of different numbers that you want to be taking a look at. This is where you get into a deep dive analysis. I know for some people, this can be pretty overwhelming. I've done it for so many years that it becomes second nature. In fact, I find the numbers fun. And there's a lot of reasons why the numbers can be fun and why you need to know those numbers. Really and truly, the biggie is that it's going to help you to determine how many people you need to talk to. Once you know that, you can develop your action plans and determine how much time you need to achieve it. You can actually create your timeline. But here's something that I love about these numbers, about tracking these type of numbers, is you can track your progress. Progress, not perfection. That's what you want to remember. You don't go from 0 to 100. There's a continuum along the way. So you can track progress. And I'll tell you what, progress is a beautiful thing to be recognizing people for. Remember, you're setting that goal, and the goals are for growing. That's what Bob Proctor says. You're looking for progress in your business, in other businesses. Now, that conversion rate, you might start out with it being very high, that you have to talk to a lot of people. And as you work on it and you work with your coach or your mentor, your upline, you can improve your conversion rate, which is so in other words, you can talk to less people. But you got to know what the conversion rate is. All I know is this: if you don't know your numbers and the right numbers, you're never going to get there. You're never going to get there. Most people have some semblance of what they're doing. They are, for the most part, doing the right stuff. Now, it might not be perfect, but there's some tweaking that needs to be done, but they're doing some semblance of the right thing. Here's what I know. I've seen it too many times. I could tell you hundreds of stories of people when they come to me and they say things aren't working out. I ask them how many people they've talked to. They have no clue. But I just know this: if you're not talking to enough people, if you don't know what your conversion rate, you're never going to get there. You're doing the right stuff. You're just not doing enough of it. And you need to know how much you need to do. Really, really important. So as I work alongside my clients, we use this simple method. We learn how to do the numbers. I show you the numbers that are important, and I teach the GAP method. The gap. It's all about the gap, you guys. You got to know your numbers. And if you're not sure what to do, certainly reach out. I am happy to do a free call with you and give you that information. All that's in the show notes. And then you can get into the action planning, because without action, nothing happens. You can have a goal, but if you don't have action, it's not going to make any difference. And it's the type of action that's going to give you results. And then you've got to learn, take some different training. You've got to develop your skills. And then, of course, it's evaluate and accountability. That's the GATE method. Sounds really complicated, but it really isn't. So this is Coach Janet Metzger of the Network Marketers Den. I want to thank you for being number one in the best industry that it is, for being a 1099 contractor. Again, no matter what your business is, you've got the best boss in the world, and that is you. So if you've got any questions, certainly reach out. Be sure to check out the Network Marketers Den Facebook group and the other podcasts that you'll find on CoachJanetM.com. So here's to you closing that gap, knowing what the gap is, and then opening the gate to success. This is Janet Metzger of the Network Marketers Den, and here's to your success.